Let's freaking get out a fun 1 hour live stream after the best night of my life. So last night I got married. That was pretty fun, not gonna lie. And what's funny was the venue actually live streamed the wedding. Now, what was actually supposed to happen? Well, I'll get to that in just a second because I didn't actually want the live stream to be public. I was going to share it with the PHL Patreon, and I was also going to share it with family and friends who were sick and too old to not make it. Um, but there was a pretty crazy thing that happened. We'll get to that in just a second. But I want to start off with obviously the big news in the past 48 hours. Jawan Johnson committing to Colorado. Should we fear Deion Primetime Sanders? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I know he's not in our conference, but this guy is special. Like, there is a certain affability that Deion Primetime Sanders has that not a lot of people have. There is a certain stardom that he has. So we're going to talk about that and so much more today. We say hi to Joshua. We say hi to Jared, one of my closest friends on PHL. Tony, normal guy. Jeff, good to see you. I really appreciate the kind words. Chance says yes-ish. LA Mama, really appreciate you. Normal guy, good to see you as well. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. And of course, one of my closest buddies, Joshua and Skipper. Good to see both of you. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you here. I don't, for this reason. He is going to have such a national recruiting blueprint that I don't think he is going to take in a volume of Louisiana, a volume number of Louisiana guys to where it is going to suck us dry. Also, when Louisiana players go to a school like Colorado, guess what? Guess what? We ain't got to worry about them because we're never playing Colorado unless we absolutely positively see them in the playoff, and they will not be going to the playoff anytime soon. So Jawan Johnson obviously is a very talented player. He's an athlete. They don't know exactly where his best position is. I think he can play offense or defense. Obviously at LCA, that's a school, that's a smaller school where they're going to ask you to play both ways. Obviously at LCA, he was mostly a quarterback. So, you know, he's a very good player. He was a guy that LSU felt pretty good about, but there is an offer out there from Colorado that is kind of becoming one of the offers, right? And this phrase is used in the recruiting world, the offer, right? Alabama is still considered the offer. When you get the Alabama offer, that means you are a son of a gun. That means you are a dude, right? And there are other schools that are the offer type of schools, right? Obviously, Georgia, obviously, LSU, obviously, Ohio State. You guys know who those schools are, right? There's not many. But when Colorado offers you, you kind of, sort of become the offer in a way, right? Because Dion is different. He is a star. And look, if you are younger and you weren't really familiar with Dion Prime Sanders, he was one of the sports stars on the planet, not only for obviously football, but the crossover into baseball and also being on America's team. So obviously, it's very, very interesting. Obviously, with the transfer portal, it is a little bit different. Now, I'm actually going to put this on. I actually took this off just for a little bit. I think I'm going to get one of those silicone band things. I got to get with Presley on that. But I obviously got a wedding band on, and we're going to do an early Presley collection read. Look at that, Presley collection, presleycollection.com. Obviously really cool having this thing on. It's very different. It feels very accomplished. So there you go. Now, here's what we're going to do. On Tuesday, I'm going to show you some of the wedding pics. But the wedding was live streamed, and a lot of PHLers actually watched. And by a lot, I mean a few, because I didn't make the link public. I did just share it with the PHL Patreon, but the link is actually public. You can go watch it right now. We did have a very special guest at our ceremony, and it was in a video format, but I want to publicly acknowledge and thank Peyton Manning for doing what he did. Those things, he didn't have to do that. And when I asked him to do it, I'm not going to lie, you guys don't, I'm not one of those kind of guys. I'm not a big, like, I got to get the biggest guest on PHL ever. Like, if I get Joe Burrow on the channel, that's obviously my dream, and I love having guests on. And as you can see, I'm very selective in who I actually have on this channel. But it's not really ever just been my thing, right? So whenever I meet these people, I know they get asked all the time. But when I asked Peyton Manning to do that, it was quite literally 8 days away from my wedding. So that's kind of a weird thing to just lie about to a human being. I was very authentic about it. We had a great conversation prior to me asking him to do that. And you guys know I'm not like that, but as you can see, hey, freaking loves Peyton Manning, and she couldn't be there. So that being a part of our night is very unique. It's very special to us. And I want to publicly thank the sheriff for doing that. Now, back to LSU football stuff. Haley's dress is so beautiful. Yes, it was. So there you go. Yeah, that would have definitely gone over well. But we move on. And I want to say thanks again for each and every one of you saying what you have said about the wedding. It is wonderful to be married. Now, something else I'm going to ask you to do is, you guys knew that I am starting to kick into another gear. I'm going to be honest with you. You better keep up. There's going to be a lot of deep dive PHL type of content coming out. I'm obviously pumping out more stuff on Power Hour SEC. So, I hate it because, when you get married, we're still doing live streams, but, I'm focused on doing that, right? Now that is in the rear view, I'm not going on a honeymoon. A few of you asked me that. I'm not going on a honeymoon now. What we're deciding to do is save up money to make a big trip to Italy or maybe Turkey, maybe somewhere. Okay. So what I am going to do is save up for that along with Haley. And honestly, I never quite understood going to the honeymoon directly after a wedding ceremony. Like, that is very intense, right? Well, I don't know if I could move after a wedding ceremony. So it's pretty crazy. Call kids, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Very kind words right there. Blake didn't come. Blake did not come. Pause. But Trusty, y'all better tune in AYS tomorrow. I'm going to tear them up. I'm going to be honest though. As we get back into some current LSU football stuff, I actually had a few people not make it. Yeah, I know there was a lot going on this weekend. It's kind of a weird weekend. Normally weddings aren't in early February, but part of why we did the date is it was also my late grandfather's wedding date, and my grandmother was able to make it, and she is 97. So I wanted to have it on that date. Haley wanted that date, and it just happened to be my grandparents' wedding date. So there you go. Look at you. The Master Blaster. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That will go towards the flowers. I did not think flowers were that. But thank you so much, Master Blaster. I really appreciate it. Obviously, it took a village to put together a wedding, as many of you know. So really appreciate that. And I appreciate your friendship, Master Blaster. And feel free to shoot me an email after this. There you go. And this was obviously really cool right here. It's one of my best friends, Annie. A lot of the PHL graphics that you see were made by her. Okay. So there you go. And see this one right here? Wait, no, it's going to go this way. I'm still pointing this way. You could tell I'm a little. There you go. Wait, let me see if I can get it. It should go up. Now like this. Should I go like this? I should go like this. But now I should move this way. I swear I'm not joking around. This one right here. This graphic was made by Andy. Thank you so much, Andy, for your friendship. It was pretty good. Thank you so much, Skipper, for the super chat. Thank you for letting us share you and Haley's special day. So there you go. Now I know you guys are here to talk LSU football. If you want to talk wedding stuff, that's perfectly fine. So Tony and Skipper, whatever topic you guys want to talk about, we will go straight to it. So any LSU football topic, I've already shared what I shared about Deion Sanders. I love Prime. I think he's a very interesting guy. But like Brian mentioned a minute ago, you guys were before I go back to Brian's comment a minute ago, you guys are great. I went back and I looked at some of y'all's comments during the live stream. That was crazy that even that group of people, I sent you the link 30 minutes before. There's people in there saying, let's go. Let's go to Brian here. And while we do that, we will go to Tony and Skipper. Whichever LSU football topic you want to talk about, we will go to it. Also, I do want to shout out, this is a community, okay, a PHL community. I don't have the biggest audience. I will never be an A-lister. I really don't think so. But I want to be big. I want to go national. I want to do great things. I want to shout out Roger here. He lived within driving distance of where we had it, and Roger did something rather big for me this weekend. So my best friend, did Gina show up? So, my best friend in college was a guy named Ahmed, right? And he is he's a big lawyer in New York City. So, Ahmed wasn't a part of like he wasn't one of my groomsmen. Most of my groomsmen were family. But he works in New York City. I just want to shout out. You guys are going to find this cool. So I called Roger and I said, Roger, you're one of my best viewers. You're also a great friend. I need Ahmed to get picked up because Ahmed flew in from New York into Dallas, and then he had to fly another flight with a big layover, and he flew in 30 minutes before the wedding started. Roger picked him up, raced him to the venue, and he got to see it. My best friend, I've not seen him in 4 years. Okay. It's life. As you guys know, you have close friends that move across the country. And not only that, I got to spend, today, me and Haley with Ahmed. And it was Roger who made it happen. If Roger didn't do that, Ahmed would not have come to the wedding. So I wanted to shout Roger out for doing something very selfless. And Roger left to go give another friend a ride. So we need more people like Roger in America and in the society. We would be better off. So there you go. I can't thank you enough, Roger. I really, really, really do appreciate that. And he's even wearing the old school PHL pick. And let's see. I think Roger made the montage too. At photo montage. Let me see if I can find the Roger Dodger photo. I know it's somewhere up here. There it is. So that's me and my good buddy Roger right there. And I thought that was just awesome. So thank you so much, Roger. I really appreciate you. I don't know why the photo didn't go up. There it is right there. Did the vagina show up? And there she is. Congrats on your wedding, Carter. Your wife is a lucky lady. So I'm thinking American Patriot is Gina. Huh? As you can tell, I don't have much of a voice tonight. So Gina, good to see you again. I am officially taken, Gina. I'm so sorry about that. Roger's single though, so I couldn't. hey, Dean, if you're real, I can hook you up, man. As you can see, Roger's a dashing young man. Look at that. But there he is right there. It's one of my good buddies. And I appreciate you, Roger, for saving the day. I'm quite serious because Ahmed also has a very stressful job and he doesn't get the opportunity to obviously hang out with me ever. So that's really cool. And I didn't get to see Roger on my special day. I was so excited to see Roger. And he left to go give another friend a ride to go somewhere else. That shows you how selfless he is. So Roger didn't drink any of the alcohol, didn't eat any of the food. He before all that happened, he went and gave another friend a ride. So I called Roger today and I said, "Dude, what the heck? Me and Haley were so excited to see you. There's family members that I would have enjoyed seeing more. That I didn't want to see as much as I wanted to see Roger. But look at that. That's awesome, Roger. Roger's my kind of guy right there, man. A lawyer. Yeah, I thought I liked the dude. Nah, anytime, man. I appreciate whatever you need. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, one day we will figure out who Gina is. It's good to see Caucus back in here. Everyone, round of applause for Caucus. He's been very busy lately. It's good to see you, man. And shout out to your lovely wife as well. Let's go to Brian. Brian. Skipper and all our other super chatters here, including the Master Blaster. You get to pick the next topic. So go right on ahead, okay? I just wanted to give you some free special day. We'll talk about whatever. Okay, there you go. You guys know. Look at this guy. He shows up. So I want to shout out one of my good buddies who couldn't make it, Mr. Van Lathan. I really appreciate your friendship. Actually, FaceTime Van beforehand. Wanted to talk to him, wanted to see him, and I appreciate the pep talk beforehand. And actually, it would not have been good if Van showed up, because Van on this channel said something about somebody who actually did show up. In a way, he kind of showed up. I think there you go. Thank you so much, Van. Look at that. Oh man, that's nuts. You'd have to give. Nah, that's crazy. It's a lot of money. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. God, we just put together. I didn't even tell you that we were doing a live stream. Good to see you. Wow, it's cool. I think this is the biggest super chat we've ever gotten. Wow. There's 52 people. We're normally in the hundreds. That's cool. This has been the best live stream ever. So there you go. I'm going to be honest though. As generous as this is, I wish Van Lathan was in the building yesterday, but we will make it happen. We'll make it happen again soon. We'll be together again, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah, so Van, whatever you want to talk about LSU football related, we'll get straight to it. Thoughts on the Alabama coordinator hires. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Tommy Reese. I did something about Tommy Reese on the SEC channel. So once again, go to Power Hour SEC, subscribe to the channel, and there you go. So not gonna lie, I'll tell you this. So I did FaceTime Van beforehand. Always trust Van to give me honest advice and just stuff in general. And to be honest, I had a little bit of the bubble guts before my wedding. I don't know if you guys had. So I called Van. I wasn't like really nervous, but I was like, I'll FaceTime. I talked to Van forever on the phone. And I appreciate the brief convo. Good to see you. And he got to see all the groomsmen and all that stuff. So there you go. Wow, I'm going to get married now. Congratulations. I'll tell you this, okay? Real talk. I won't say who this was, right? But someone in the wedding party attendance walked up to me, and I talked to him. I've known this person for a while, and they said, "Hey, how do you know when you know?" And the honest to God answer, and I think married people in here that have been married way longer than I have, I'm not going to act like I'm one day in this thing, okay? The truth here is you just know. It's just that simple. You just know. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're never going to gazillion, thousand, million% know. There are days that you think maybe this isn't it. But at some point, you will just know, right? So, thoughts on the Alabama coordinator hires. So, I'll mostly spend time on Tommy Rees here because I did do some research on this, right? So the first thing is Tommy Rees being hired as the offensive coordinator does add a little extra spice between the Alabama and LSU game, right? Because Alabama, of course, is a college football power, and Tommy Rees said no to joining LSU with Brian Kelly, and he says yes to joining Alabama and Nick Saban. So, what does this mean exactly? Well, it means a few things. The first is Tommy Rees even a good offensive coordinator for Alabama? Now, before I continue, Van, once again, you get to pick the next topic, and I'll answer this really quickly from Tyler. The first thing, okay, is that you, and I'm looking at whoever you are consuming this, okay, you need to answer one very important question, okay? What is the yard per play metric for that quarterback? Okay, as a quarterback. Donovan had a very generous super chat fly in. What is the yard per play metric for that offensive coordinator or that head coach? Tommy Rees's yard per play numbers are actually really freaking solid. Okay. He was around 6 a few years ago, and he was around 6 this year. Okay. He was top 50 both years with rotating doors at quarterbacks, 2 different head coaches. Tommy Rees was fine. Now, first thing, and this is also not really anti-Brian Kelly, but it's just the truth. Tommy Rees in 2021 was okay. Notre Dame's schedule in 2021 got notoriously soft. A lot of quarterbacks got hurt on opposing teams. There were just some really bad teams on Notre Dame's schedule in 2021. And this past year, the one thing I really liked about Notre Dame's offense is they did get better as the year moved on, right? And that is always a sign of a good team, right? You get better as the season moves on. You get better when games get in November. Those are very good things, right? So, for me, I think Tommy is a good hire for what Alabama wants to do. But what I also think this means is Nick Saban is going to slow things down, right? With 2 different head coaches, neither of which were, up tempo, a gazillion plays per game kind of guys. Tommy Rees under Brian Kelly wasn't that. And obviously under Marcus Freeman, a defensive head coach, they weren't a hurry up team. I do think Nick Saban wants to slow his offensive pace down just a tad. Now, if hurry up is optimal for this team, that's what they're going to do. But I think Nick is making this decision to slow the pace down, which is very interesting. A lot of defensive guys tend to do that, right? Nick might think that his defense got too tired. It's crazy. So let's go to Donovan Super Chat here. Congrats to you and your bride. May God bless y'all's marriage. What's very interesting, Donovan, is we actually had someone's very young like you sing at our wedding yesterday. She was absolutely phenomenal. Her name is Mason Halstead, great young artist. She sings a lot like the great Brandy Carlisle. But yeah, I shout out to you, Donovan. Good luck in your career. And once again, one day we're going to get you opening for Miranda Lambert's. Go Tigers. Topic is 2023 LSU's year. I think so. What say you? It's a good question. Is it LSU's year? Now, the first thing is, what is the definition of year? Okay. You can make a case that our year wasn't 2019 LSU. That was our century, right? That team doesn't even deserve to be mentioned, honestly, with our other national championship teams. Yes, a national championship is a national championship no matter how you cut it. But 2019 LSU was in a different, stratosphere. I think a better way to ask this question, Donovan, is 2023 Brian Kelly's year, right? And that's where things get really fascinating here for me, is that we do have an interesting dichotomy with our coach that a national championship does more for Brian Kelly's legacy than it does LSU's legacy, right? Because the public would view another national championship for LSU as just, well, another national championship. We're a power, right? Uh, we're not Georgia, we're not Alabama, we're not quite on their level, but we're obviously the number 3 team in the SEC. Okay, so first thing here is the one thing I really like about where LSU is with Brian Kelly on a macro scale. If we're talking about want to and need and how desperate are you for something to happen, the truth here is when you say, when you look at Brian Kelly's legacy, he needs a national championship more than we do, right? And yes, if he never wins one at LSU, to him, he's still going to live a life better than most of ours, right? Making $10 million a year. But the truth is, this is, if he doesn't win a national championship at LSU, Brian Kelly, for his coaching career, is going to be viewed not as a failure. He's still going to go in the College Football Hall of Fame, and he'll still, live a very elite life. But he knows he has to win one, right? So I think another way you can phrase this question, Donovan, that I think would be very interesting would be, can LSU's roster this year put together what it takes for a team to win a national championship? And the answer is yes, right? Got Jaden Daniels, a fifth-year quarterback that obviously is going to have to get better throwing the football vertically. But Jaden is a very good quarterback. By all accounts, he is a top 10, no worse than top 15 quarterback coming back in all of college football next year. We have seen a pattern that these fifth-year quarterbacks do take massive leaps forward, as we've seen recently with obviously Stetson Bennett and that other guy that I don't like putting in the same sentence as Jane Daniels. But quarterbacks in general do get better with age. We've seen that with Bo Nix, who, like Jane Daniels, was a top 50 overall quarterback who has gotten better as age when they went to a new school. So, that's obviously a very good thing. The second thing is, will Jaden's vertical passing game get better? If it does, we are going to be in the mix. So I really appreciate this, Don. I appreciate your friendship, brotherhood, and you making PHL a very special place to be. Van wants to talk about Bama's quarterback room next year. Let's do it. I'm obviously very excited about that. Sherry Berry, good to see you. One of my diehard PHLers. Brian's absolutely killing it with the chats tonight. I really appreciate you. But Van, obviously, big time super chatter. Talk about Bama's quarterback room next year. So, let's start with the young guys there. Obviously, they bring in Dylan Lonergan and Eli Holstein in this quarterback class, which is very interesting. So, I wonder how they feel about their lives right now as two quarterbacks in the same recruiting class whose OC just left for the pros and Tommy Reese is coming in. This is a case where, an OC switch such as this one, I wish kids could be able to transfer, but, that sucks, right? Obviously, neither one of them are going to play, right? I will also say neither one of them necessarily got a high grade for me just from watching them. I don't think either one of them are with the other elites in this quarterback crop, which is going to be viewed by many as a big time quarterback crop, including, as Jared mentioned earlier, Arch Manning. So those are their two young guys. They also have two veterans, right? Ty Simpson, who's going into year 2. He was a 5-star quarterback along with the likes of Connor Wigman and Kate Klubnik and Walker Howard, who was a 5-star on Rivals only. But he was in that same mix, right? He's out of Tennessee. He's got a little bit of what's called a Konami code. It's more of a fantasy term, but he does have some dual threat escapability and playmaking ability. some view him as a better thrower. We just haven't really seen him play all that well. And Jalen Milroe is more than likely going to be Alabama's starter. He is not a good, not a great. He's an elite athlete with the football in his hands. He is a Jaden level runner. They're different types of runners. Milroe is bigger. He runs a little bit more like an Anthony Richardson. And Jaden runs obviously a little bit more like Lamar, right? And Jaden's style is very unique. If you were to just watch a silhouette of a quarterback, you can immediately see it's Jaden Daniels, right? He plays a very unique style. Milroe does as well. He's obviously a quick tuck and runner. We saw the running he had versus Arkansas, which was special, one of the better plays this year in the SEC. And he has got some real athleticism. So that's what their quarterback room looks like right now. I might be slipping somebody. But I'm still going to think it's going to be Milroe. I still think it's going to be Milroe. So we'll see how Tommy Rees builds that offense next year. Very good question, though, Van. If you have any others, feel free to fire away. Your super chat is going to be up there for quite a bit. Let's keep it going. Sherry Berry, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You have been one of my closest friends on PHL. Thank you for making the Discord a lot of fun as well. King Wizard, with NIL jumping off at LSU, I believe Brian Kelly will have the extra resources to get a couple extra 5-star commits. Yeah, and look, what's interesting, King Wizard, is even with the NIL stuff, what has changed? I'm serious. So what has changed, right? Not a lot, right? Guess what? It's interesting. Who got the most 5-star cycle? Oh, yeah, Alabama got 9 of them. Who got all the 5 stars prior to Alabama? Well, Alabama, Georgia. Who's getting all of them now? Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. NIL got one team a bunch of 5 stars, right? So, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can. LSU's going to get the 5 stars that they normally get, but if you actually go look at the backbone of a lot of these national championship teams at LSU, you got to have some of these 3-star miracles happen. And, it doesn't have to be to like the level of a Justin Jefferson or like a Jacob Hester, but you need some of that. And LSU did get some of that last year. Obviously, Josh Williams is the most notable of those miraculous jumps, and Wingo, of course. But to win these national championships, you have got to just have guys take leaps. And a lot of times it's not even coaching or development; it's just those guys putting in the work and saying to themselves, "Hey, I want to be that dude. I want to be what turns the page at LSU." So, we'll see what happens. But really good stuff, King Wizard. Good to see you. Brian says Jalen Milroe is dangerous and imposing athlete, but Daniels is simply a better QB. The improvement of LSU's online could shock the world this upcoming season. Yeah, I just think, and correct me if I'm wrong on this. I just think Jaden is going to take some step forward as a vertical passer. I really do think so, right? And it's just going to come down to ripping it, right? It doesn't have to come out pretty, right? I'm gonna be as honest as I can. If any of you watch Larry Bird shot now and you've never really sat down and watched Larry Bird take a shot, you would not think it's a good shooting form, right? Jaden is never going to be that level of all-time great athlete. Maybe he is, and I'm just totally wrong about that. But Jaden has a very unique way of playing quarterback. It's different. It looks different. And, not asking for, pristine footwork or anything like that. You just got to rip it. And like the Dre Jenkins touchdown versus Ole Miss showed you, the ball can come out late. It can come out as a wobbler. You just got to rip it. Now, when you play the better teams, you've got to actually rip it on time, and you saw that versus Alabama. It's crazy. Yeah, a quick little wedding story. So, my dad put a lot of work into making this wedding special. There was a huge team of a lot of people that made it happen. Right, it was a very nice wedding. I was very blessed to have a family on both sides really step up and make a lot of things look great. Uh, but my dad's a very generous, great guy, and he's one of my best friends. And he is also a Jordan guy. Like he is an OG Jordan collector of memorabilia and all that stuff. And last night we actually, like obviously I was very inebriated. Uh, there was someone trying to talk LeBron stuff that LeBron's better than Jordan. That's just not going to roll here. It's just not going to roll. I grew up in a Jordan household. Y'all, it's religion. This is not a debate over who is like, and I like Larry, right? But Jordan will always be the best. Now I'm going to get back into football because we're only going an hour tonight, but I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can. Michael Jeffrey Jordan is the best basketball player of all time. I, I'm a football channel, so take that for what it's worth. But I grew up watching the NBA. I love the NBA. So there you go. The Jordan and LeBron debate broke out. Okay. So my dad is a big Jordan guy, and someone got in our little circle right here and said LeBron was the GOAT because the Pelicans played the Lakers yesterday. And I will show you this. I'll show you more wedding photos on Tuesday, right? I'm not honestly in the absolute best spot right now to like show you everything from the wedding, but I will show you this. This was the groom's cake at the wedding. Let's see. Let's see here. I think you guys would find this to be interesting. The best thing about a groom's cake is, like I said, I want Liverpool, LSU, Pelicans. Okay, look at that. Okay. Y'all can hate on me all you want about these. So a lot of people got mad at me because I had no say so on how the order of the teams. But the reason why Liverpool has to be on the top is because, well, their logo looks better. These logos are more horizontal, but I love the way that turned out. Flame my cake all you want. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Is this cake fire? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I know you're a Liverpool guy. Skipper said I'd still take the piss. Well, college, yes, absolutely. He's the best college player of all time. But there is one Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and he will always be the greatest basketball player of all time. But what about Victor Wembanyama? Let's see him play a game first before we crown him the greatest. Now we got some Liverpool fans in here. Not even sure LeBron is better than Kobe. Huh? That's good. Oh, City lost to Tottenham? Oh, come on, Caucus, please, man. I even shouted you out earlier. I even shouted your wife out earlier. Come on, Caucus. You're better than that, man. I gave you a birthday shout out. Surprise birthday shout out. And what is this? You're telling Come on. You're better than this. You're better than this. It's cool. What's the occasion? No, I just had it made. I had it made for myself. I just wanted Oh, man. Harry Kane scored again today? Oh, he's great. But had penalty kick landed yet. That's okay, that's a low blow. That's a low blow. It's a low blow. I have defended Harry Kane. Did I ever think that Harry Kane could be defended on PHL? I don't know. So, we can get into a debate about this, okay? Shaq is my favorite basketball player of all time, okay? I like him more than Michael, but I grew up in a Jordan household. Those are the rules, okay? But Shaq's my favorite, okay? Mostly because of the LSU connection, but he's a diesel, right? He's the most interesting, hilarious basketball player arguably ever. Him and Charles, right? NBA, TNT, you guys know it. Okay. Um, Shaq deserves a lot of love here. And what's interesting, Amacat, is obviously we're a big sports card community here as well. A lot of you are growing your sports card collections. I've gotten so many messages about, hey, you're inspiring me to build my sports cards, and that's great. That's great. But what's very interesting is Shaquille O'Neal's cards are not a gazillion dollars. They're still very expensive, but the um the truth is where he is all time, he is a little undervalued, and I think you can actually, you know, get a nice few Shaq pieces. Now, how much will they go up or down? I don't know, but it's a little bit more affordable than Kobe and Michael. Obviously, nobody's ever close. No one's going to be close to Michael in terms of prices, but Shaq is crazy. Oh yeah, Shaq's so interesting. Okay, um, you know that we are moving towards the end of this live stream. Thought the Kyrie trade was pretty wild. Uh, I'm going to be honest. Not in love with it. And look, I know a lot of people love Luka Doncic. And Luka I like Luka. But the Mavericks have kind of become the James Harden Rockets, you know, and now bringing another guy who is very ball dominant. The Mavericks are going to be a brutal watch, right? This is and what's interesting is those Dirk teams were a lot of fun to watch, right? So I understand why they did it. They needed another superstar, and I get it. The Mavericks, it's going to be interesting. Now back to LSU football. Jarrett with the super chat. I know you're not a big NBA basketball guy. So we'll get back into LSU football here. A few other things before we get out of here in just a moment. Okay. Um, I'm going to say this, and Donovan had a really good super chat about, it's 2023 the year, right? Donovan's one of our sharpest, most talented viewers here. Obviously more musically than anything, but it's very interesting when we look at this team from top to bottom. Some of these transfers, when I watched them, like I obviously have a really high grade on Denver Harris. Right? I think Denver's going to be a good football player for us. And there's some other really solid transfers that we brought in. But some of these guys are going to have to be big, big, big for us next year. And, we're going to need Mason to be back and play at a high level. And honestly, let's see what Malik does this year. Should be a very fascinating year for Malik Neighbors, right? What I want to see happen is Malik continue to grow as a player. But one low key thing that I think will begin to happen over these next few months is start looking at mock drafts for the next NFL draft. And this is how news cycles work. Okay. So, me being in the media and understanding algorithms, one thing that generates a lot of clicks and generates a lot of interest are mock drafts. Mock drafts are all the rage. Okay. And sometimes they are not accurate. Okay. And one thing I wish mock drafts did, and this is going to tie in with Malik Neighbors, okay, is I wish mock drafts shared whether they were told this information from scouts, executives, teams, betting markets, if you will, or is it their best guesstimation for who the next great players actually are going to be? Okay. So, what does that have to do with Malik Neighbors? Well, right now, no one's talking about Malik Neighbors in the NFL draft. Why is that? Because he is not eligible for the next NFL draft. But one thing that has happened and become big in our society is next list, right? So today I got an alert from Fox Sports, or like a alert on my phone. Hey, we know the Super Bowl hasn't been played yet, but here are the favorites for the 2024 Super Bowl. And normally these lists are put out directly after the Super Bowl ends. But now these lists are starting to be made before even the final game is played. And the one thing about the American sports culture is we're always looking for the next thing, right? We don't care too much about what happened in the past, all right? We always want the next thing. So, NFL mock drafts are exactly that. They are trying to predict the future. And one thing is how many wide receivers, just off the top of your head, okay? I know it's hard because a lot of you don't do mock draft content or you don't consume it all that much. But how many wide receivers in college football next year would you take over Malik Neighbors? I'm serious. How many? Marvin Harrison. And that's about it. It's Marvin Harrison, right? What does that mean? That means Malik Neighbors going into next year is going to be a bigger buzzworthy name than he is right now. Okay. And he is going to be on a lot of mock drafts. Okay. Watch out. The Malik hype cycle is coming before the start of next season. Okay. Got the 1,000-yard season. And something else is Malik is flashy. Okay. He makes a lot of ridiculous plays. He had the Purdue run, he had the wild catch versus Alabama, and he had obviously the Mississippi State fourth down big catch. The guy has the really, really, really rare ability to make the spectacular play. Okay. So watch out for Malik Neighbors. Okay. Let's go to Jared, his super chat here. Anyone watch the Pro Bowl games? Okay. I caught a little bit of it, not a lot of it. I don't know the full format of it. Um, I liked it. I did. Craziest thing about that, the stands were packed. The stands were packed. Now, the ultimate litmus test of every Pro Bowl, and a lot of people like to do this, is they like to share the rating of the Pro Bowl just to show how many more people watch the Pro Bowl than every other sporting event. A meaningless exhibition. So, what's interesting is I would not shock me if the Pro Bowl actually had higher ratings this time, because not only do you add the actual Pro Bowl, you also add two of the biggest names on the planet, Eli and Peyton Manning, to the equation. That other celebrities mixed in there as well. But Eli and Peyton are a big deal. Now, I'm not just saying that because, once again, I just had the good fortune of meeting these two guys along with Archie. But the truth is, um, you know, they're superstars. I watched a little bit of it. It's kind of funny that Jalen Ramsey hitting Tyreek Hill, it was on accident. That was a massive hit. I'm glad Tyreek just popped right back up. But man, what was that? Right? I actually thought it was fine. You know, these guys weren't really hitting in the Pro Bowl. Also, this is good promotion for flag football, right? Football's pretty big in America. Obviously, not as big as tackle. So, will it become a thing? Will it ever actually mean anything? No, never. But truth be told, did it overly excite me? A little, because it's different. But still, it's a Pro Bowl. I'd rather watch a real football game. Sounds like it's getting worse every year. Yeah, I mean, what's the alternative though? I mean, like I think everybody would rather watch a competitive real football game. So that would be my question for you is what is the alternative? Um I uh I don't think there is one, but if these guys get a chance to, you know, I saw a bunch of like skills competitions kind of stuff. It's cool. I still think it's cool. It's fine. I also think it is cool to see these guys play football such an intense game that um I think it's hard to play uh at an extremely high level. Play poker. I actually love playing poker. Good to see you highlight, homie. We're back-to-back USL campus champs. Hope I'm alive when we have robots playing football against each other. That would be pretty interesting. Build the best robot to play in a game. Ha! That would be fun. Who remembers the show Battle Bots? It used to go on Comedy Central. That show was in freaking incredible. Wow. Battle Bots is still on somewhere. Battle Bots. Let's go. I love it. You know what's interesting? The more I think about the flag football thing, something else I like about it is football is just rarely played, right? I'd rather them just play flag instead of just do like the tackling. And I want to be interested to go back and watch a highlight from this. Uh, so yeah, let me see. Jerry says, "Yeah, no, I wasn't interested in watching powder puff football." Like, I think it's one of those things. Like, um, man says he's hammered. Do I probably shouldn't drink, but I can. I mean, do you want me to go? I'll. Who else is drinking tonight? We can't just have Van doing a Sunday fun day, and like type Y for yes, type in for no. Is Van the only one Sunday fun day in right now? For the betterment of my health, I have been drinking plenty of agua. Oh, let's talk about Livy Dunn. NIL superstar Livy Dunn. I thought the one interesting thing about the Livy Dunn thing, right, is are there people out there that truly understand how big of a star she is? Yeah, there are people out there. Like, she's massive. And there was a photo of her and Joe Burrow, and there was a lot of people that said, "Is she and Joe dating?" And they weren't. But what was really fascinating about the Livy Dunn thing is it shows you how big like the TikTok stuff is. And I become, bigger, like doing short form stuff. You've seen more advanced short form kind of things. And yeah, truth be told, I'm just being honest. I haven't really watched a whole lot of like Livy stuff because I try to stay off TikTok because it could be so addicting. Um, but yeah, shout out to her, killing it. Watch out, Livy. Let's see here, Carvis, my friend. Good to see you. You're a big reason why I kind of want to go to Orlando this year, for the game. I am planning once again LSU Arkansas game next year. I'm gonna start putting together a plan for PHL Nation to meet up. That is an LSU home game on campus. I enjoyed doing the meetup in New Orleans last year. It was great. God, it was really great, and I can't wait to go back to Stumpy's and do another one of those. But what's really interesting is the home games are where it's at, right? And LSU home games are the best. And college football is meant to be played on college campuses, thus being college football, right? Um, so I kind of want. I know money's tight for everybody right now, especially after my last couple of weeks. It's definitely not spending as much on stuff that just doesn't matter. But what's interesting is, I kind of want everyone to go to a game on campus. And one thing that obviously is a big complaint about college football is you don't know what time the games are starting, right? Games get flexed around, so it is very interesting. I got work tomorrow at 5 a.m., so don't drink it after my evening. I could use a couple drinks. You think there's enough of us going to Atlanta for a mini meetup? I think there's enough of us going to Atlanta for a mini meetup. Okay, so here's what I'll do, Jared. Like, I got meetings with some, potential PHL partners. Obviously, we are really happy with the Presti collection, but we want to grow. Like, we obviously want to grow into new ventures and frontiers, right? So, if I'm able to get a good bit of the trip covered, I will go to Orlando, right? Because I want to spend, a good bit of time, doing something for this Arkansas game. But yeah, I would be interested if I could find some way to make it work, have somewhere where I could do the show. I have a good friend who's a Florida State fan who throws a huge tailgate. Uh, so yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what the I got to read into this spy balloon stuff. This stuff is just nuts. But Carves to really appreciate that. Now, here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we are at the 1 hour mark. Okay. And you guys know what we normally do at the 1 hour mark, right? I think you guys know. You guys know, right? Normally, about the 1 hour mark, we do something. Um, and I think some of you might know what this something is, right? We've actually already done. I'm not as smooth with it tonight for a lot of reasons. But we've actually already done one of these a little bit earlier in the stream. There you go. Skipper is the GOAT. Prezi Collection, PreziCollection.com. Normally I flash something on your screen and I normally talk about the engagement rings. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that thing? It does feel good. I'm not gonna lie, it does feel good. Prezi Collection, PreziCollection.com. Once again, Prezi Collection, PreziCollection.com. There you go, Tyler, coming in second tonight. Skipper always holding down. I spent the fall in Florida between Naples and Jacksonville. Y'all have at it. Ain't going to Florida anytime soon. Yeah, I mean, it's a trip. I mean, it is a trip. And, everybody's experience with Florida people is a different story in and of itself, right? So, yeah. But yes, in the next 5 minutes, I will answer as many questions as I possibly can. Get a lot of writing talk tonight. Really appreciate all of that. But this is going to be my big key. Okay, this is going to be my goal for the next couple of weeks, right? I want to be honest with you. There is nothing on the LSU front right now. Absolutely nothing. Now that the early signing period just eats up all the air in the room, there is no stories right now. There's nobody to sign. We still don't have spring football dates. And the reason why this part of the season last year didn't really feel like anything was because we were still high on the Brian Kelly news that he was hired. So that was still the biggest story. And the year before that, it was a lot of Ed Orgeron hot seat chatter. So, I'm going to be honest with you. It is dry. The LSU football news landscape is dry. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to issue a challenge. I always try to have at least 100 people in every live stream. That's a really good number, right? Last second decision around 6 or 7, I decided to do a live stream tonight. Very glad that I did because this is my favorite thing to do on the freaking planet, right? Last night, I'm going to be honest with you. Last night was the first Saturday that I did not think about doing a live stream on Saturday night, right? I love live streaming. It is my favorite thing to do. And technically, we did actually live stream. The wedding was live stream, not on here, but on another channel. But yeah, it's my favorite thing to do. It honestly is. I think about it all the time. So I'm going to issue a challenge. I know the Tylers, the Skippers, the Carvises, you guys make everyone. Jared, Van, you guys not only make everyone, if you don't make everyone, you go back and watch it. Amacat, you guys know who you are. This old vet, Joshua. Joshua has been one of the most diehard PHLers. So I really do appreciate that. I appreciate his friendship too. And I got a one-on-one Zoom call coming up with him as part of his Patreon subscription. Once again, if you are a patron and you haven't done, your one-on-one Zoom call, some of you, opt not to do it. That's perfectly fine. It's just an option, just to open up more access to me. Time is a very valuable thing. In the words of the Linkin Park song. I'm going to be honest with you. I am so freaking excited about this channel. Like, I really do feel like we're about to hit a next level. I don't know why I feel this way. Maybe I'm just still high off the marriage stuff, but I just really feel like we're on the brink of doing something big. And it's because of you guys. It's honestly just because of you guys. I really do mean it. There you go. What's up, PV? First time PHL, PV. Good to see you, man. Welcome to the miserable club. There you go. I love it. I've been on Golden Boot, I think 3 times now. Good to see you. Married club. What's up, BC? That's good, man. Push PHL to the national level. Here's the thing, Joshua, is this isn't a national channel. We're LSU fans. We're all LSU fans. We got a few Bama fans that tune in from now and then, and other SEC fan bases. Sandy's a big Auburn guy, and he's a big donor to the channel. I obviously there's only so much you can grow when you have a niche like this. What I'm going to do though is I started an SEC channel that could be a little bit more national, but it's still kind of like regional in and of itself. But I would like to be a national college football commentator, right? Or just a national sports commentator. I love the NBA. I love it all. So, with Branson and a few other people, I'm actually experimenting with like more short form stuff. And, my goal is to be Stuart Scott mixed with Colin Howard. That's always going to be my goal. Those are my 2 goats. So yeah, I'm just inspired every day to do that. I'm even more inspired now. So, the truth is I am only going to work harder, and I can't freaking wait for that, right? And obviously I got to keep the lights on too. So that obviously helps out, and more people listening obviously helps out. So there you go. Now, this was a lot of fun. Once again, obviously, got to give a special shout out to Van. That's pretty crazy. Donovan, Jared, you guys know who you are. Skipper, Tyler, AP, everybody else. I really do appreciate all the very generous super chats. And I am a little hoarse, so I can't really do this right now, but we're going to do it, baby. The Mr. Blaster. Tony with the big hundo earlier. I really appreciate you, Tony. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, I really, really appreciate you guys. You're the ones that make PHL special. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I want your time is as valuable as mine. I said we're only going to go an hour. Basically, we did. I will be in the PHL Patreon. If you want to join the PHL Patreon, ask Joshua, ask Skipper, ask Sherry Berry. You guys get the goods, okay? You get the private Patreon page where I post extra updates and little nuggets here and there. Obviously, I let everyone know that I wasn't going to be posting a whole lot on Patreon this week because obviously this is one of the biggest weeks of my life. I made a New Year's resolution to put everything in the past, right? We've got 8,000 subscribers. We've got a bunch of people, joining, the PHL movement, right? But the truth is, my mind is going to be very short-lived. I'm always going to be thinking about the next thing, right? So this week we're going to crank out a lot of good Patreon content. So be on the lookout for that. Okay. And honestly, one of the biggest things about the Patreon is the Discord, right? So if Sherry wants to send me a message to talk about LSU football, she sends me a message, and Discord messages. I get a lot of Instagram messages. I get a lot of, Twitter DMs, and I try to get to every one of them. I do get to the Discord ones faster because, obviously, number one, I love Discord. It's a very app. But the second thing is, their time is valuable, right? They're valuing my time, and obviously, I love talking to Jared and everybody in there. Skipper, Marcus, it's great. So there you go. So I'll be in the Discord chatting right there. Hope you guys decide to join. It obviously helps out quite a bit. The Joey tier gets you in the Discord. It's $9.99 a month, and it's definitely worth it. Okay, it is. Power Hour LSU Bam. And tonight, I'm Branson. Oh, we're doing some leftover wedding brisket. Now, for those that stayed till the very last second, I got a special story for you. Okay. For those that stayed till the very last second. Some people already tuned off, so I'm going to give you a very special story. So I made a joke about this, and it's honestly, comedy is mixed with painful truth oftentimes. Okay. I knew this was going to happen. My wedding wasn't huge, but there were still a lot of people that showed up, right? Okay. So Tyler knows because I think I've talked to you about this, right? So at the wedding, I had Billy's Boudin brought in. Okay, my cousin who lives in New Roads was able to get to Krotz Springs in time, and they if you order a bunch, you get them in like these little party balls, right? So they're not as big as like the big paws that you get from Billy's, right? So they they got a lot of them. I mean, it was a high volume of Boudin balls brought in. Okay. Let me see. Let me do some quick math. I think I'll order 325 of them. Okay. Paid for them. Right. And I knew I wasn't going to get any because, as you know, the bride and groom, we didn't do a first look. So guess what? We had to take 30 minutes of photos. Right. No big deal. So I was leaving and I saw people complaining that the boudin was already gone. And I wasn't even close to being able to eat. So I'm going to be honest, I was furious. I was steaming the entire time we were taking bride and groom photos because I heard that. And then some random person comes up and says, Carter, where did you get these delicious boudin balls? I'm like, oh, yeah, only my favorite restaurant in Louisiana. Well, one of my favorites, right? So on my actual wedding day, I didn't get any until somebody put aside a plate for me with 3 boudin balls on it. None of them were the crawfish balls that I wanted, and they were soggy. Right, they were very soggy. They kind of got mixed in with some other stuff. So, at my own wedding, I'm bringing all this stuff. I should have ordered 600 of these. They're addicting. They're so good. And I talked to a lot of my friends. They're like, I asked them. I was like, "Oh, did you enjoy the I know uh pause, huh? So what's funny is the truth here. All right, I asked a lot of my friends. I was like, "Hey, did you enjoy the Billies? Did you enjoy the Boudin balls?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I had about like 5 or 6 of those things." And I'm like, "You did, didn't you? You had 5 or 6 of these things." They're like, yeah, and I told my wife to get 5 or 6 and stuff them in your pocket for later. No, obviously I didn't say that, but there you go. So at my own wedding, I didn't even get a chance to eat the one thing I wanted. I was like, I wanted Billy's Boudin balls on my special day. Yeah, I know. You guys laugh. Once again, comedy is mixed with truth and pain, right? Or what is it? Pain mixed with truth, or whatever the phrase is. But yeah. All right, I'll be in the Discord. Let's go.